Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. This is day 2 for the Getting Started with Unreal Engine 5. Welcome back. Okay, nice. All right. So we are going to do a bit of revision of what we did last Monday for people who perhaps didn't get a chance to turn up, But if you didn't get a chance to turn up last Monday or this previous Monday, you will have a recording link, which I'm going to share with you right now. I put it on YouTube because it's easier to view on YouTube instead of on watching it on some other platform. Because on YouTube you can speed up and whatnot. So I'm going to put it there. That's the link for this recording. So if you missed it, you can go and look into that. Yeah. Sun Xian, I think Merdat, I think she did he or she, I'm not sure, but I think she put a image there about. Oops, why is Photoshop coming up?
Yeah,
the end
this
button,
is
right?
what I was looking
that's
for.
the button.
Yeah, thank you.
That's yeah. So I don't know why Photoshop opened up. So there you go, snap to floor, snapping features all day. Yeah. Thank you, Sun Xian. All right. Okay. So let's do a bit of revision and a couple of things that I want to start off with before. I think the last Monday I was getting ahead of myself. A couple of things I forgot to do. Number one is to share the course syllabus. It is there in the Dropbox, but let's go through it very quickly of what we are going to learn in the next 12 sessions. Yeah, it's something I had to do, but I forgot to do. Let's quickly review. I'm not sure that Lynette just shared this with you. So we have been through all these. So these are going to be the dates, TBA, I mean, the dates that we are going to have the classes. I think there is one public holiday that's happening during the class. I think it's somewhere, I think it's Awal Muharram or something happening there. So it might be a public holiday. I will speak to Lynette so whether we can move the class by one day or something like that. Yeah. If she's okay with that. So there might be one. So I will come back to you guys about that. And then we have okay, we have gone through all this stuff. All right, the Monday was about talking about the course intro to Epic Launcher, which we did. We spoke a bit about the user interface. User interface is something that we are going to go on and on and on with, because I can't really teach you everything about user interface and you will tend to forget. We will learn, at bit by bit, right? So then you get familiar with the whole user interface, because as I said, Unreal Engine has a lot of, working stuff in it, made out of a lot of stuff. We did a bit of navigation. We learn how to use the WSD key, the Q and E key to move around in the interface. And we also did some movement of the objects, using the XYZ, or in our case, XYZ. And I also did a very simple, I showed you how to create the project and also the level. Okay, that's what we did. Today, we are going to talk about how to import static meshes from software like Maya or Blender. I do not have Maya installed in my machine. I have Blender though, so I can show you the pipeline or the workflow. Then we will talk about creating collisions. Collisions are important because if you are making a game, of course, you don't want the character to run through walls or objects. So we'll show you how to create collision. There are a couple of things that you need to understand about collisions. I'll touch a bit about light maps in this editor that we're going to open up. Although light maps is going to be a subject inside of a lighting sessions. Yeah. We'll talk a bit of LOD, because I'm covering these three because that editor that we're going to open actually has the features for all these three topics. Yeah. And the biggest problem of all is the pivot problem that people are having, when bringing meshes into Unreal Engine, because it wasn't done correctly in a DCC software. By DCC, I mean the digital content creator software like Maya and Blender and 3D Max and so on and so forth. Yeah. And I'm going to show you how to do that right inside of Unreal Engine, how to reposition the pivot point. Sometimes people they would want to go back to their Maya and then reposition the pivot and then bring it back inside. That's too much of work. So right inside of Unreal Engine, I'll show you how quickly and easy you can reset the pivot point. Cool. This is the stuff that we are going to talk about today. All right, let's jump into a bit of revision that I want to do. Okay, can I ask for a huge favor from all of you. A huge favor means I need this for my reports, basically. Is it okay if I take a snapshot of the students or yourselves because I need to send this to Epic anyway. So is it possible if we quickly take a class photo or something? I'm going to bring this up here. If you don't mind switching on your cameras just for a few seconds, because I can show the people in Epic that I'm actually teaching, so they can believe me. If you don't mind, yeah. If you are shy, it's okay. You can just maybe switch on your thumbnail or something like. It's okay if you have a photo or something, or you can wear your mask. It's okay. If you don't mind, guys, just for a few seconds. That's all I need. So I'll give you a couple of minutes for that, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Right. Okay. All good. I can't be able. I won't be able to capture everybody. I think maybe I can. I don't know. My screen is big enough. Hopefully. So maybe another 20 seconds, guys. You switch on your camera. Quick one. We should have done this on Monday. All good? Hang on, let me see if I can recognize anybody here. Oh, Reza is your countryman as well, my dad.
Yeah.
I had a good friend named Reza as well from Iran.
Yeah, it's a popular name.
Yeah, it's a popular name. And then there's name of Gadim Zadi or something like that.
Actually, Hussein is one of the most popular one in Iran.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if I go to Iran and just say Hussein, everybody will start looking at me.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's just like the Arabs, right? When they're playing football, you Ahmad and to Muhammad, Muhammad pass to Ahmad, Ahmad to Muhammad. The same names. All right, guys, let's snap a photo. I know the rest of you would not be able to switch on your camera. Maybe you don't have the hardware. Okay, I'm gonna just give it a countdown, 1, 2, 3, and then you just put on your best smile. Yeah? Even if you're wearing your mask, just smile. Your eyes will tell you whether they're smiling or not. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. I'm gonna snap that. Fantastic. Okay, got it. Thank you very much, guys. Yep, I got it. Thank you. Where did my photo go? It's somewhere in my machine. All right, excellent. Okay, let's go back to learning now. Okay, how many of you had a chance to open up Unreal Engine and had a play with it in the last couple of days? You managed to, play around with it or something since Monday? Or maybe you guys already familiar with Unreal Engine, so the first day was a bit too basic for you guys, perhaps. Okay, this is my screenshot. Cool, I got it. All right, so a couple of things. Yeah, I want to take photo done, course syllabus. I've gone through it. And if for some reason some of you are having some issues with opening up the files, let's say if I open up the file that I was talking about, I'm going to run my, I think I already have running launcher here. A launcher, and then let's open up the file for today. So if you haven't had a chance to download today's file, it is in the Dropbox. The link is in the chat. It is called FBX ingest. Yeah, it's the one. So if I highlight my, oh, hang on, let me change my screen size, guys. That was a bit too small. Display settings. I change to resolution. No, this one. One 200. Okay, I think that's much better. There you go. All right, much bigger, right? So if you have loaded up your file that I will pass to you, it should be in your list under my projects. Yeah, so it's called FBX ingest. It's running for 5.1. And if you hover your mouse on it, you can see where it is exactly located on your hard drive. Okay, this is just for future references. And all I need to do is just double click, yeah. It'll take a couple of seconds and it will open up. I can minimize this. It opens up on the other machine or on the other screen. Okay, so this is the project file that we are going to work with. Okay, if you noticed, software here. All right, that is the name of the project up here. Okay, and that is the level that we are actually opening up. Okay, right. So remember, the name of the project is FBX ingest, and we can have multiple levels in any projects. Okay, the name of the project is going to be up here. Cool. I just want to tell you guys where things are so you can look with your eyes and whether I'm opening up the right project and whether I'm opening up the right level, right? So it's up here. Okay. So if you are having issues with your hardware, and some of you might not have the hardware that you probably want to have, there are a couple of things that you can do when you open up any levels. Number one is actually you can go up to here under this little oops, trying to do something here. 1 second. This one here, yeah, the box here. You see that? This little like a hamburger icon. If you click on it, there's something here called screen percentage. Right? The screen percentage here, you can change it to a lower number, so your FPS will run higher. Okay, you will have a higher FPS. We don't normally put it at 100%, except that if you want to do a screen capture. Okay, but if you have a trouble with your machine, it's lagging, change this to a low number. Mine is gone to 54 for some reason. So I'm going to leave it at 54 for now. The other thing that you can do is to make things go faster for you. On the top right corner, okay, on the top right corner here, there, yep, that's a settings button. If you go to settings button and select engine scalability settings. Okay, this one, Unreal Engine will do it automatically for you. Like it detects your hardware and it tells you, okay, I think you need to go for Epic. At the moment, mine is under Epic, all of them. Okay. If you want to have the best result, of course, you can click on Cinematic. But if you don't have an RTX card, I suggest you not to do that. Our system will crash. If you have any issue, you can go down to high or medium or low. Of course, you will lose certain features. Yeah. So sometimes it takes a bit of seconds, a couple of seconds to jump to that. And high is going to be like that. It's just detecting your system. And then usually if I click on auto, it goes to Epic. So for those who are having issues with your system lagging, because as we go along, we're going to work with the project, which has much more stuff in it, kind of thing and all that, and it gets very laggy. Yeah. Or sometimes what we can do is like, if your textures are too much textures in your level, you can bring down to medium, low. You can go individual as well if you want to. Okay, if like the shadows are too heavy or the effects or the foliage is too big, like when we do landscape later on, you'll find the foliage will be too much. You can bring it down in this way, right? You can customize how it's going. But for now, maybe you can just click on this button away. So that's how you're gonna make things go faster for you. Cool. And the other thing that I want to talk about is we did a bit of stuff on Monday. We spoke about the launcher and why you have to make sure things are done properly in your vault and where you're going to put all your caches. Remember that, okay? That's important for you to make sure that you have the enough hard drive, or make sure your hard drive is optimized. We learned a bit of how to create a simple project. We're going to do that a few more times until, it becomes second nature to you. We did a bit of navigation. Remember navigation that we did, the WASD key. So I even showed you how to click the F key to focus on an object, hold down the Alt key to move around. Okay, and because I'm using my own device, so I can move around like that. In your case, you can do WASD key, okay, to move around, look around, zoom in into an area. Just like playing a game, And if you click the play button, you can actually run around with this little robot lady here, or Android. Okay, just like playing a game. Okay, and then you want to come out from that mode, you press the escape key, and we are done. Okay, and we come back here. All right, so that's what we did so far. We also did a bit of manipulating of objects. You can use this axis to move stuff around. You can also press the space bar to move from translation or position or location to rotation to scale. Yeah. So if you come here, if I hit the green scale, it expands that way. I can make it like a wall. I can go that way as well. Yeah. And if you go upwards, it goes that way. Okay. So that's what we can do with those axes. And the controls are all up here. We have the snapping feature for the position, the rotation, and the scale up here. And then they have figures with them. Yeah. If you want to make the snapping go in smaller increment, you make it into a smaller increment. So if you go nearer, if you change this to position, you can see they'll just jump every 5 units. Okay. And every 1 unit in Unreal Engine is 1 centimeter, by the way. Right. If you want to go higher, maybe every 50 snapping, you can. Yeah, this is good for you to start doing the world building stuff when you're snapping things together, like a modular stuff. So this is good for that. So you can disable, enable that. Maybe someone can help me remind me how to enable, disable this via keyboard shortcut. You know, maybe one of you can do a research, and maybe before the end of the class, you can tell me. There is a keyboard shortcut for this. I can bet you. Okay. And then we spoke about, okay, we have done manipulating objects. Those are the stuff that we did on Monday until about there. Yeah. And to start today's class, I want to show you how to change keyboard shortcuts. I think Merdad asked for it, and where to find keyboard shortcuts and how to change them. We can also find out how to do this, which I just mentioned just now. So if you go to edit and you go under editor preferences, sorry, editor preferences, sorry, you look for keyboard shortcut, which is this one here. Okay, keyboard shortcuts. And these are all the keyboard shortcuts, which is by default in Unreal Engine. There are tons of it, a lot. So if you want to like find out what the key was for you to drop the things down to the floor, obviously just now one of you have already told us where to go is really under select. I don't really use all this drop down stuff because sometimes I'm good in remembering keyboard shortcuts on most of the software, so my finger will go in. Maybe it's a muscle memory or something. Where do you go? Tools, window? No, you went to select, right? Or is it build tools? Sometimes I don't know where it is. Oh yeah, snapping. Actor snapping, and then there you go, snap to floor. Okay, it's called snap to floor here. So let's find out where the snap to floor is. SNAP-TO, snap to floor. So it should be here. Did it highlight for me? Control N is snap to origin, to set origin to grid. That's another thing that I've never tried. Shift N is snap bottom center bounce to floor. There's something new as well. Okay, there are a lot of keyboard shortcuts here. There you go, right? Snap to floor, and you can change that if you want to. If you're using a laptop and it's not available, the N key is not available because this is I'm talking about this is the full format keyboard that I have in front of me. If you're using a laptop, then you can probably reassign the key with something else. Yeah, so you can change here. And then this is another way for you to go and learn keyboard shortcuts. Like if you want to, toggle, snap, drag, press D. A lot of good stuff here. Shift P to snap to nearest spline point. It's all about snapping because I put the word snap up here. Okay, if I put the word snap, then these keyboard shortcuts are all about snapping to somewhere. Enable actor snapping. Control Shift K. There you go. So what's this keyboard shortcut for this? Snapping to the grid. Let's find out. Snapping to the grid. Nothing. D. Snapping, wrong spelling. Snapping grid. Up. Nope. Grid snapping. Blah, blah, blah. It's not coming out. Okay, I'll figure out. There is a keyboard shortcut for it. I promise you. Okay, but that's how you come and change your keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, very powerful system. You can come and change all the keyboard shortcuts here. Okay, you can even change the way the UI is, the layout of it, the color of it, and all that you can do that, right? But I don't need to because I'm so used to Wondercurrent. So again, go to editor preferences, and there's something here about viewport color. Well, I'll let you go through this. Yeah. material editor. There's a lot of stuff you can play around with this. But as you go along, as you get familiar with Unreal Engine, you can come and play around with all this stuff. Cool. Right. So that's how to make your life a bit easy by changing the settings of your viewport so it does not lag, and then the keyboard shortcuts that we have. So far, any questions, anybody? Let me have a look at the chat. Grid snap. Yes, thank you, Hintan. Snap to floor. There's a question mark. Snap to floor, maybe, yeah. But it was so sometimes if you go and highlight on certain stuff, they'll show you the name of it, like if you highlight things like that, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to clarify on my request. I wanted to see the menu actual button, not the short key. So we know where the menu is, then we can find the short key.
So yeah. Thank you. It's either going to be under the actor himself, like if you go to actor visibility, and then you can see the height select, Control H to select. Let's say if you want to hide certain things, you just select the actor and then press H. Yeah. Cool. H. And when you do that, you're actually switching off the eyeball in the outliner. See, it's the same thing as I look like in Photoshop, right? And on and off from here. Or you can just select a bunch of it. Yeah, shift select a bunch of it, and then you say H. If you want to see everything again, Control H. Right. So if anything that related to the actor is under the actor menu drop down here, right? So I'm going to select something and actor, and then you can see I can edit. Obviously, the similar. Then you can duplicate, Control D, delete. Rename is F2. Visibility, height, Control to show all. You can only show selected. If you select one and you want to hide the rest, there's not a keyboard shortcut there, but you can actually make one. So now only that is selected. I mean, the reason why it went to dark is because I switch off all the lights as well. The lights shouldn't be switched off, right? So it went dark. So don't worry about it. So if you press Control H, everything will come back.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Actor is the active selected objects, right?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. 1 second, guys. So whatever you see in your control, in your browser, content browser, are called assets. Yeah. This is the lingo from Unreal Engine. Anything that's inside the content browser is known as an asset. Okay. As soon as you bring it into the viewport, it becomes an actor. Okay, the lights are the actors. The SM here means static mesh is an actor. Whatever you put in your viewport, it becomes an actor. So that's the reason why it said actor up here. Okay. So you can see the visibility, the transformation, the snapping, snap to floor is and okay, align to floor, nothing. Okay, snap. Okay, pivot, right? Or something to do with the pivot, which we're going to do that in a bit. And you can even group things up. If you press this couple of guys here, let's say you want to select maybe this bunch of meshes here, pop, 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 and then Control G. You see what happens here in your outliner, yeah? They become a group actor. So if I select here, then it becomes a group actor. So now they're considered as one group. Okay, you can see the word group actor. If you select that group actor, it will select everything for you. So that's how you group things up. Okay, if you do want to group it up, you can right click on it, say group, ungroup. You can even do a right click on it, Shift G to unlock or ungroup in this case. And now they're individuals. Oh, thanks. Okay, just got my coffee. Thank you. To fuel up my brain for today. How do we get the stat display that you have beside the file name? I knew somebody's going to ask me that. How do you want to see this, right? Like right now, my system is running 120 frames per second. So who's asking? Joseph. All right. A couple of things you can do, Joseph. Number one, you can go to this hamburger menu here on the left-hand side of the viewport. Okay. I do not know what's the technical term for this one. It's probably called a viewport menu. Yeah. Let's call it a viewport menu. I like to call it a hamburger menu. Click on it, and then you can see show FPS. Okay, show FPS. And then you can see your FPS sitting here. Yeah. Yeah, that's the oops. There you go. That's the FPS. It's running 118 FPS. But if you want to see like what's up here, this is what he's saying. He wants to see it up here, right? So this is you have to go into the editor preferences. Okay, and in the search window, because of tons of stuff here, I can't remember where it is. I think I need to type in FPS, and there you go. hang on, not level play. This button here. Let's show FPS. That's Control Shift H. That's the one. That's the same thing as this one here. Let me see. Let me see if you can find it. Let me know. It should be viewports, under viewports. Level editor joystick. No. Show actor content. It should be under viewport. Maybe I can do a search here. Snapping. Enable 2D layers. Somebody quickly find it. Let me know. Sometimes it's just in front of my eyes, but I can't see it. It is somewhere here. It's under viewports. FPS or display FPS. If I go back to the top, show frame rate and memory. There you go. Show frame rate and memory. Thank you very much. Show frame. There you go. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Show frame rate and memory. Thank you. Chundi, thank you very much. Okay, so when you enable that, you will see the that thing up there. Yeah, it's a good thing that you can see it up here instead of just putting it on the screen here. I don't like to have this here, so I can switch it off, and can forever can see what's happening when you're seeing. At the moment, 120 is probably the fastest, but it'll go down as as you put stuff into the scene. Okay, that's a long way of answering your question, Medat, but thanks for asking. We have spoken about revision sharing projects. Okay, Mehdat, on Monday, he asked me about, he has a PC in the office and also a PC at home, and how he wants to synchronize both the PCs so he can work from home and also work from the office. So he's it's done in the office and he want to go home and he want to continue the work. I've tried it, Mehdat. I use Dropbox for that, but this is only for yourself, for you, right? If you want to do this on your own, then you can put it on a Dropbox. So what it will do is when you finish in the office, by the time you drive home, it's already synchronized to the latest version, and you go back and open up, you still have that. And I do that very often. I use my Dropbox, and my Dropbox will synchronize, and I go home and I open up the same project. But this is only for you. But if you want to collaborate with your teammates, there's something called in Unreal Engine, something called multi-user editing. Okay, I'm going to open up the documentation for it here, and I'm going to share it as well with you. This takes a bit of IT knowledge or IT experience to set it up, but I'm not sure whether your IT people will allow you to access to a server or maybe a proxy, right? So everything inside here will teach you how to use MUE, multi-user editing. I'm trying to do that over the internet because I don't have a LAN at home. So I've got another PC on my side on the left here, and this is my main PC. I've got another one. So I was trying to do it. I didn't have time in the 2 days. Maybe over the next few days, I'll try it and let you guys know how to actually set it up. But there's a documentation here of how you set it up. And multi-user editing it's basically the lowest end of what we call a remote. There's a word for it, a source control. Yeah, it's the lowest end of source control, which means there are better systems for source controlling. If you go to the higher end studios, I think you guys might already have this, something called Perforce. If you ask your IT guys, maybe some of you here from IT, have you heard about this thing called Perforce?
Yeah, we are using Perforce and also.
Yeah, there you go. You already have it then, right? Which means you already are doing Perforce stuff. So that's the thing. If you just get a plugin for Unreal Engine, for Perforce plugin, you enable it and you can start sharing your stuff. Yeah, this is the website for Perforce. You can have a look at it, and then you can do some queries online as well. The other thing that some companies are using is Plastic SCM, PLASTIC, and guess who owns Plastic SCM? Anybody wants to guess? Guess who owns Plastic SCM now? Unity. They just bought it. Yeah, so they know how useful this is going to be. Perforce is closely related to Unreal Engine, and Plastic SCM is closely related to Unity, so it belongs to it. But you can still use it. Yeah, you can still use it. It doesn't mean that you have to use Unity for plastic SCM, but you can even start for free. But Perforce, you can actually use for free up to 5 users. That means you can actually set up this at home if you want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to play around with it as well because I didn't get a chance. I've been awfully busy lately. So you can actually have 5 users. Let's say you have a group of 5 people in the studio you want to use. It's free of charge. Okay, and then according to sources, they say Perforce is one of the best. It's a much, the server is much faster. You can also do it the GitHub way. Yeah, there's a tutorial I saw yesterday. This guy is showing you how to set up using GitHub. But you know, GitHub, the servers are not meant to be for remote sessions and all that for source control. So you need to be a bit more patient, I guess. Yeah, but it all works. GitHub works. Plastic SCM you have to pay. Perforce you have to pay. If you're doing your own stuff, you can use the MUE, the one I just mentioned just now. This is just between you and your friends. It works. Yeah, it works. It's fine as long as you can connect to a server, but also a facility for you to connect to a VPN. Yeah, there are a lot of VPN, free VPNs out there. You can try as well. Okay, you don't have to pay for a VPN. You can even get a free VPN. I think it's one called Hamashi. I think Hamashi. Hamachi. I'm not sure you guys would have heard of it. It's a VPN, but it's free of charge. It's owned by LogMe In now. Everybody's buying over everybody. Somebody comes up with a freeware kind of thing and all that, and then another company will buy them up. So I think you can still get it for free for 5 users. After which you got to pay. It was free those days, yeah. It was like a open source VPN, but now everybody's buying everybody, unfortunately. Okay, so that's Medad. I hope I have answered your question
in details. Thank you.
And I will do the experiment in my house of using the because I will try. I want to try whether I can use it over the internet, not the LAN nor connect via cable or whatever. One sip of water there. Okay, so I'll because I need to know this because I can teach my students later on. So I will do some experiments. I promise you. Okay, let's get into today's topic. What we're going to do today is I'm going to talk about collision, how to import meshes into Unreal Engine. When I say meshes, means polygons, basically your models, right? And before that, I also want to share with you that Unreal Engine has a very comprehensive and very complete documentation that you guys can go through, right? So if you go back here, Control V, and I'm going to paste this inside here as well. Documentation is amazing, yeah. I've never seen any company with this kind of documentation that they're doing. This is amazing, right? You can find about anything that you want for Unreal Engine. So here you go on the left-hand side is all the previous or the current versions of all the Unreal Engine, right? So let's say we are looking at 5.1, sorry. You can go and look and through this. Let's say you want to talk about collisions today, right? So if you go under search, talking about collisions today. So here's documentation all about collisions for today. Yep. So setting up collision with static meshes in Unreal Engine 5. Here you go, and there you go, right? So basically what I'm going to do today is I'm going to follow this particular page so you guys can follow along. Not all of it though, right? Some of it. Okay, talking about why is collision important. Okay, so this is the page that I'm going to basically work with, and I'm going to put it there inside there as well. So I'm going to share with a lot of documents, a lot of links for you today, So you guys can look when you get a free time, you can look through that and study it and go through it, because sometimes certain things I miss, you can go back and find out. Oh, he was talking about this, or there's more information about this here. All right. The other thing that I want to talk before we actually start is a couple of things I forgot to mention the other day because I was so excited. The project structure, how the project structure in Unreal Engine works. So you give you like a broad overview of how Unreal Engine takes care of its project structure. Let me just go back here for a few. Okay, there you go. Project structure, yeah. So when you create a project for Unreal Engine, okay, this whole thing is called a project. Remember just now I showed you the project name was FBX Ingest or Ingest FBX. And inside there, you can create levels, right? So just like this one here, okay, we have a level called third person map. Okay, but we have plenty more levels inside here. I'll show you how to open that in a bit. And inside there, you can create sub levels. It's not that I don't really do sub levels in the levels because sometimes you get confused. And anything that's inside the levels are called actors. So every bit that you can see here, even the sky and whatever, these are called actors, right? So we got the actual volumetric sky up here. So anything you can see here inside, in fact, all this stuff that you can see, the icon and all that stuff, these are all called actors. Yeah, they're all inside your outliner. Right. So whatever's inside your outliner are called actors, by the way. Okay, that's how it works. And if we compare something like, let me go back here. Where did it go to? I want to show you something here. Where am I? Photoshop list. No, not this one, not this one. Okay, this one. So if you have like a software like Photoshop, right? If you have a Photoshop software, and when you save the file, Photoshop will save as a PSD file. Am I right? Okay, it becomes a PSD file. And if you have Microsoft Word, it becomes .doc. And if you have Maya, it becomes .mb. Okay. In Unreal Engine, it's different, right? It actually converts whatever you install or whenever you import into Unreal Engine into its own version of a file, which is like this. Let me show you. Next page. There you go, right? So if you are in the level editor, Unreal Engine 5, if you're in the level editor, okay, when you save a file, okay, the name of the file is going to become .umap. That's a level, okay? UMap is a level, okay? If you are in the asset editor, if you save your file, it becomes any model UAsset. It's going to convert that model. Okay, for example, if you bring in a file from Blender, an FBX file, okay? When you drag it into the content browser, which we're going to do a little later, it's not going to keep the FBX files. Yeah. So it's basically like what we do in Photoshop. It's not indestructible. It's non-destructive way of doing things. Meaning, Unreal Engine is not going to touch your original file. The original file is going to be original file, but it's going to convert that into something called a UAsset, .UAsset. Okay. That's the file extension name for a model. Material, same thing. If you bring in a material together with an object, which is an FBX, it brings the materials in. But it's gonna name it as UAsset. Okay, but because for Maya, if you bring it from Maya, if you save as FBX here, okay, it's gonna convert to mymesh.uasset. So what I'm trying to say here, if you have an Unreal project file, which has already been converted into Unreal project file, you cannot take up those stuff and then expect to go back into Blender and use it, or in the Maya, because it has been converted. The reason why it's doing that because Unreal Engine is a game engine. So what it does is actually it will optimize the files as much as possible for it to run as fast as possible, right? So it's all about optimization inside of Unreal Engine. It does optimization. So even like Photoshop, if you bring in the PNG file here, okay, it's going to convert it to UAsset file. Okay, you can take a UAsset file and bring it to another project. It works as long as it's a Unreal Engine project, but you cannot take it and bring it outside and go back to Photoshop and edit. It will not recognize the word. It will not recognize the file. That's how it works. Yeah, it actually converts everything into its own kind of way. So again, anything that's installed in your content folder, okay, is going to be converted into UAsset. Everything is in a level. It's going to become a UMap. Okay, and then everything projects are saved as U project. Okay. For instance, if I go back here, you can see if I open up my drive D here, this is my drive D. And if I go back to my Unreal projects, not UFN, sorry, Unreal projects, okay, like we have this Lemon Sky D1, and these are the project. This is the UMap project. These are UMap, and if you open up your content, and everything here under, say, on the, what do I have? I think I don't have anything here. Maybe we should open up another one. Where is the, just go into hillside sample. Content. under Megascans. So these are all the US set files. Yeah, everything here is US set. Can you see that, right? It's US set. So I can't like take this into like 3D software to manipulate, cannot. Yeah, they have converted to this one. So you can't use it. But you can actually export to another DCC to play around with it. Okay, so that's how it works. So it's all about optimization, right? So that's the thing that I want you guys to know moving forward and how things work in Unreal Engine. We have done that. Okay, cool. Just gonna close this one. All right. Okay, so let's look at how we can start importing meshes into Unreal Engine. Do you guys need a short break? No, right? Still okay? Any question, everybody? Anybody raising any hands? No? Okay. All thumbs up. Very good. Yes, you do Perforce and SVN. SVN is what? Huh? I've heard of it, but I can't remember what is SVN.
It's also a source control software.
Source control, okay.
This SVN.
Okay, cool. So you already have implemented. That shouldn't be a problem then. Right. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. Okay, naming conventions. Now on, if you are working in Unreal Engine, I want you to understand how naming conventions work in Unreal Engine. Okay, very important. Because once I start bringing some FBX files, you see that some uses some sort of a naming conventions. Yeah. So let me just highlight to you how we work in Unreal Engine, the naming convention that we use. This is again another perfect documentation by Unreal and by Epic. I'm gonna paste it there as well. Okay. So if we are working in Unreal Engine, when you start importing your FBX and all that stuff, that's the naming convention that we use. So if you are creating, we are not talking about materials yet, we're talking about materials on Monday. Okay. I will start using this kind of naming conventions. Excuse me. If you are using a static mesh, let's say if you import the static mesh in a bit, I think anything that starts with SM is called a static mesh. Okay. So we will put SM in front and then the name at the back. Okay, SM forklift, SM whatever. Yeah. And then skeletal mesh, which is your rigs and bones and whatnot, it's called SK. Okay, this is some of the stuff that we normally use. Texture, we put T in front. You might be already using this like blueprint. We call it BP underscore. What else which is familiar? Niagara, we use FXE. Sometimes we just use NE or whatever that meets your standards in your studio. Okay, animation sequence and stuff. So this is something that you can follow, because everybody else, when they are doing stuff in Unreal Engine, they will follow this kind of naming conventions, right? Material is always M, then we have material instances, and we have stuff like that. Okay, so these are some of the new ones. So if you want to have a look at more about the naming convention, there's actually a link to a website here. It's not here, tapi I think there's one called ALLART, ALLART naming convention. If I can Google it. There you go. Communication, ALLART, yeah, UE5 style guide and attempt to make, there you go. It's a GitHub, stuff. And they've moved it to somewhere here. So if you can look through this one tells you the most, well, it's a complete list of all the naming conventions they're using in Unreal Engine. It's a huge list, by the way. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like skeleton match, you put SK Bob, and materials I'm underscore Bob. Diffuse, we have D at the back. Normal, we have N at the back. Rock, SM rock 1, rock 2, rock 3. M underscore rock means material. MI means material instance. May not make any sense to you right now, but when we move through the courses, the lessons, then you would probably understand. Okay, so these are the stuff. So I'm going to copy this and keep this to you as well. So you can keep this all as a reference. You can copy paste into your notepad or whatever you want to do. Because this will come handy in the future, I can bet you. Especially when you're going to become an instructor or teacher or whatever. Yeah. Alrighty, let's jump back here. Okay, so what are we going to do today? I'm going to just take this guy out. We don't need him anymore. So what we're going to do today? Okay, today we are going to talk about how do we import meshes into your scene. So what we're going to do, guys, I am sick and tired of this scene. I don't want to use this scene anymore. I want to show you how to create a new level. Okay, this level is called third person map. Okay, but I want to create a new level to show you how you can create a new level. By the way, if you notice on the right hand side, we got tons of stuff in the outliner. You see that? Everything got SM, 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 static mesh, right? And you can even see the type here. It shows you this is a static mesh. So it's kind of cool. You can actually click on the type. We can only see all the static mesh. And you can also see by its lights. If you, the lights are there, they're going to show you this is a light, and there's no light here. Is there a light here? There you go, directional light, huh? So it gives you like a category of stuff that you can actually click. You can even alphabetize the thing, alphabetical order, right? And the cool thing about here is when I was first learning Unreal Engine, I used to go and click like that one because I like to, a bit of, what's the word you call it when people are, they tend to be picky about stuff. What's the word for it? OCD, yeah. You're right. I'm a bit OCD about looking at all this stuff, So I like to go and click like that, click like that. Alamak, just if you get about 1 million of this, you're gonna have tough time of doing that. You're gonna become crazy. So what I found out is actually if you have opened up, there's actually a keyboard shortcut that's a cool keyboard shortcut you can do. What you can do is, guys, you go right to the top. You can see this little first triangle here. This first triangle, yeah. So what you do is you shift click on it, and then you don't press shift, just click again on it. Now everything becomes so nice. Okay. The idea is shift click first, then you don't shift click, just normal click. Okay. So if I go up here, shift click, and then I do a normal click, then it all becomes nicely, all tidied up for you. Just kind of cool. All right. So that's how I like to work. The other thing that you can do is also you can put things into their own folders, which is kind of cool. So if I have this couple of things here, which are like a stray and I don't know where they come from kind of thing and all that, right? I want to put them in a folder. So the fastest way to create a folder is actually to select the items first. So select all items, shift select, okay, and then click the little folder icon on top right corner there. And you see this little plus icon with the folder? That's putting them into a folder. So when you select them, automatically Unreal Engine will put them into a folder. If I click that, there you go, nice new folder, right? So if I can, this one I can say MISC, miscellaneous perhaps. Then you can shut it down. Okay, oops, wrong page. It happens. There you go, right? So it's all nice and tidy. This is how I like to work. It has to be nice and tidy. I get very upset if I have too many things like that, right? So if I open that up again and let's scroll down, okay, you can see that you can do that as well. Okay, so you got everything here. Oh, the other one you can also do is select by their category. In this case, it's called select by their class, which means every object you see has a class. SMQ4 is a static mesh actor. That's a class. The directional light is a class. Is a class. Okay. So if you want to select by only static meshes and you want to put all them into one big huge folder, you can do that as well. So if I go to my actor and I say select, I didn't select one first. So actor select, where select? Oh, sorry, selects here. Select. Then you can select by their class. So it says select relevant lights. You can even select all lights. You see you have 1,000 lights in your level. You can select all the lights and then you can group them up. Okay. And what I'm trying to do is I want to select them by their class. Yeah. Let me see. Select by same material. No. Select matching classes. There you go. Shift E. See now all selected in that particular group. But if I select here and I say the same thing, select. No, that's not, it doesn't show anymore. Maybe I select this one here. Select by class. It only selects these guys. Why? What if I do this? If I select, right click and I go select. Let me select it somewhere here. Mapping per group attached to pin, move to group pivot snapping. Select's not here. Visibility. Browse to asset. Interesting. Right click. Okay, maybe it's save selected. No, so it should be here. Select matching classes, select selected classes, select matching selected classes. Ah, interesting. I thought I did last time. I could just select all the static meshes. Maybe I'm running the wrong command here. Select all like relevant surfaces. Focus, so select all there you go. Sorry, select all static meshes actors. Control Shift A. There you go. Okay, and then you can put them into a folder if you want to. Okay, sometimes it gets a lot, yeah, guys. If you open up a project, it is huge. Oh my god, like everywhere is everywhere. Everything is everywhere all at once. so that's how you do that, right? You can save your brain from breaking into doing all this stuff. It gets a lot sometimes when you have a huge project. Oh my god, your sense of organization has to be very good. Okay. Yeah, love that movie, Samuel. Okay, let's go back into bringing some stuff in. So in your project folder that I've given you guys, okay, if you open up that folder, let me go and browse through that folder. We have Unreal Training, Epic, Lemon Sky, Day2. I've given you this folder and it has some assets. Yeah, we got assets from 3D Max, FBX, Gaunt. This is a mesh that we can bring in play with it later. You can even bring stuff from GLTF. Yeah, GLTF. Okay, so we have 3D Max. We've got all this Max stuff. And let's talk about FBX first. I've got a lot of FBX stuff here, and I know it turns into a Blender icon because I got Blender installed. I've got bought LOD Cessna 172. Oh, interesting. Rocks. We got a lot of stuff here. Okay. So first and foremost, I want to bring in just as any object. Let's see how we can bring an object. Before that, let's open up in Blender, see how this thing is done. Let's talk about maybe bringing something like Zodiac. Zodiac with multi-materials. So I'm going to right click and open that in Blender. Okay, I've got a 3.5. Open up. Where's my Blender? It's not opening up. Blender Sumerajo. Never mind. I'll force it to bring in. Because it does not know to open up. It has to be imported because it's an FBX file, right? So I'm going to take this all out. Sorry if you guys are not familiar with Blender, but just bear with me. I'm not teaching you Blender, by the way, because if you're using Maya, then you can even import. So I'm going to go to File and say Import FBX, yeah? File Import FBX. And I'm going to go to that, go to your training. One more, Unreal Training. And under Epic, Lemon. Okay, I'm going to save this. Oops, sorry, not new for day 2. Bookmark. Okay, so easy for me to jump in a bit. And I'm going to go to assets and I'm going to go to FBX and let's choose maybe what we want to bring just now. We want to bring in that multi-mat, Zodiac multi-mat. Zodiac is actually the boat, right? Import. There you go, right? So if I zoom in, you can see there's just a little boat that I have. But this boat has different materials. So I want to know how will Unreal handle an object with multi-materials. If you look at here on the top right corner, it's just like the outliner we have. We have meshes, but we have different material IDs. Are you guys familiar with what material IDs are, right? If you come from substance and all that, you would know what materials ID are. So in this particular object, we only have one mesh, only one. So if you were to view this in wireframe, you can see it's only one mesh, right? One whole mesh. But we have several different materials attached to it. So we have this brown area here. We've got this red area here. It doesn't matter how they look like in a 3D software. You can color it whatever you want. We got this gray area here, and then we got another one color here, right? So if I were to bring this into Unreal Engine, what will become? So I've got this black color here. So I've got gray, brown, black, red, silver. These are the parts. I wouldn't name it like this. I don't like to name it. I like to name it by the parts. If I say this is the pontoon, you say M_pontoon or whatever. Because it's in Unreal Engine, you don't know what it means, right? What is M_gray? Then you got to click it and find it. Waste of time. So you rather name it using the parts. Let's say this is the seat or whatever, seat. So you go maybe instead of putting M_brown, I'm going to rename it now. As you can see, it will be updating. I'm just M_brown. I call it M_seat because I know those are the seats. Yeah, it's attached to the seat. So what else? Yeah, I'm going to just do that for now. So I'm going to export this now. I know it's an FBX because I made some changes. I can even Control S, save it. I'm going to name it. I'm going to call it Zodiac _ matte materials _ HK. HK is my initials. And save as a, I don't want to save as a Blender file, sorry. I'm going to file export FBX. And I'm going to go to D2 assets under FBX. I'm going to call this Zodiac Multimats, and I'm going to put my initial there. Okay, I'm going to export. So if you're coming from Maya, you will need to change certain things in Maya. Maya, you will have to make sure that the Z is correctly done. As I mentioned, in Unreal Engine, the Z is up and down. In Maya, is back and forth. The other thing that you have to do in Maya is change from inches to metric system to centimeters. Okay, otherwise your model will not look like the real. I mean the life size as you want it, because everything when we do modeling, we have to do actual to the life size. Right? Like this zodiac is supposed to be 10 feet, it has to be 10 feet, or in this case, in the centimeters or whatever. Okay, you have to create those in the actual world size kind of thing. So I've saved this. I'm gonna minimize. I'm gonna open up Unreal Engine, and I'm gonna import that into my content browser. I'm gonna bring control browser, control space. Remember control space. I'm going to create by its own folder. I know I have some FBX inside here, and I don't want to disturb this, right? So how do we create a new folder? Right click in the content browser and say new folder. Very easy. There are a couple of ways of doing it. You can also use Control Shift N to create a new folder, and it asks you to name. I'm going to say FBX _ Hussein. Just my name. I know, right? So I've got a new folder. Try and keep your stuff organized as much as possible, guys. Yeah. Like if you see the word maps here, maps in Unreal Engine means the name of the level. Not it's unfortunate, but it's because Unreal is a game engine. Okay, they use all the game engine naming conventions like maps. Some people call it levels. Some people call it maps. I can interchange. I call levels. I call scenes. I call maps. Whatever that works for my project. PBR here means physical based rendering materials. I'm sure you guys, some of you know about this. Starter content, remember when we first created the project, we had this option of enabling the starter content. This is where starter contents are. This is the person, that's the FBX. So I've already created mine. And I'm going to open up my FBX. Okay, there's nothing inside here, right? So there are a couple of ways for you to import. Number one is actually you can actually drag and drop from your Explorer, but I'm going to show you a couple of ways. Yeah, you can go to File, Import into Level. That's number one. This is Medad's favorite. He likes to use the drop-down menus. Sorry, Medad, I'm just kidding. I'm just having fun. He likes to do the menu
all
system.
Good, yeah, all good.
So import into level. Okay. The other one you can use is in the content browser. Excuse me. Content browser. Maybe I just talk to layout for now. Easy to see. You can click on the plus, green plus icon. Click and then you say import. Yeah, import. You can do that as well. I'm lazy, so I like to just drag and drop. So I'm going to open up my folder here. Okay, I've created my name just now. Remember, FBX. Oops. FBX. Yeah, this one I have. I click and I drag. As long as it's a plus sign, that means you're happy. If you see a like no entry sign, that means you can't drag the thing. Sometimes you get this kind of sign here, like no entry. It means you can't drag it here, or it does not work. So, but if you get a plus sign, that means Unreal Engine knows that this file extension works. Sometimes you get the no entry sign. So I'm going to let it go. So once I let go, I should get a import dialog box. Where's my import dialog box? I have to look left and right because I got another screens on my left and right. So let me try that again. Sometimes I'm wondering what's going on, but actually it's hiding behind another window. I'm sure that happens to you guys as well. Where did my Explorer go? Or disappear. We'll try again. Escape Epic. Lemon Sky, D2. Deep right inside headsets. 3 FBX. Let's try one more time. You get a dialog box. Zodiac, multi-mats, click and drag. Let go. There you go. Now I get that dialog box. Yeah, this is an important dialog box. I just want to go through here quickly with you guys. What is what, so you can next time you know what to do. The first part on the top here is talking about meshes itself. Yeah, it's talking about, is this a skeletal mesh? Unreal Engine is very good at identifying stuff. It's very good at that. It has a lot of automation in it, and it knows what you're trying to bring in. It knows that it's not skeletal mesh. That means it's going to switch off. Okay, and it knows that if you want to make this into a nanite, you can do that. So, but we're going to talk about nanite in the next couple of classes. We're going to leave it off for now. And if you have, if you want to create collision for it, this is how you do it. Okay, Unreal Engine can do collisions for you automatically, which is amazing. And in a bit, we're going to talk about a collision, but for now, just leave it as, I want to leave it on because I want my Zodiac to sit on the floor, right? If there's no collision, it's going to just fall through the floor. And this is the import rotation. Let's say sometimes when you import a certain mesh, it, like faces a different way, like it goes, facing in the Z's, up and down, left and right, but kind of thing and all that. You can actually change that here. Some DCCs will do that, right? You will just, put the polygon or put the mesh according to whatever they want. So you can actually change it over here. Convert to scene. Let's leave that on for now. Materials. Okay, this is where the cool thing is, yeah. It detects the materials that's attached to the polygon or the mesh that we are trying to bring in. Okay, it's asking you whether you want to create new materials or do not create materials. Okay, for me, I have two ways of doing things. If I am not sure about how many materials are on the polygon itself, I mean on the mesh, or in this case on the model, I would like to create materials because I do not know how many materials are attached to it. So when I create new materials, it will generate materials automatically for me. But it doesn't mean that I cannot go and change it. I will be able to change it, but we'll talk material on next Monday. And I'll show you what I mean. I want to say just create new materials. Yeah, create new material, leave it as that. And then what else do we need to do? File version, Blender, it recognizes the Blender format. So all I do is just click on import all. Right, and now we have, you will get this dialog box telling you some information about this. You're gonna get this often. Don't worry too much about it. If you've seen something in the, like a caution kind of a icon, don't worry about it. If it's red icon, then you worry. Right now, it's just telling me like a caution, right? It's telling me no smoothing group, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about this. If it's red, you worry. Then you find out what's going on. It will not import anyway. So I'm just going to close this for now. So now you can see I have my Zodiac. I can drag and drop into my scene. Now it's gone. So I just double click on it. So there you go. Okay, I got my Zodiac. And I've got my materials all done automatically for me. Okay, these are very basic materials. Remember the name I gave just now? Did it name? There you go, M_seeds. Remember I renamed it inside of Unreal Engine, so in Blender. It followed, yeah. It came along. So that's kind of cool. So this is the Zodiac, and it's actually done in a actual real world scale. How do I know that? Because I know that each box is 100 centimeters, or is it 1 meter? So 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 meters. That's how an actual Zodiac will be. Anybody has gone to a Zodiac before in their life? Maybe they would probably tell me whether this is a real life kind of a scale. That's the N key. Okay, sitting on the floor now. Okay, so that's a Zodiac. Okay, real life scale. So another way you can do is you can check the measurement on this Zodiac by going into orthographic views. Okay, in Unreal Engine, we have orthographic views. We are actually looking through what we call a perspective view up here. You can see up here, it's called a perspective view. Is that right? We can change that. So if I were to actually change to top view, so it's gone again. So double click. Yeah, there you go. It's a top view. So when you're on the top view, you can actually use your middle mouse button to click and drag to find out the measurement. Right? This is about 379, 380 centimeters. Can it be? Yeah, about almost 4 meters. Okay, I can put it my mouse here, click with my middle mouse. This is about 4 meters, almost. Yeah, 4 meters is about how many feet? Yeah, 12, right? Yeah, about almost 12 feet, which is correct. Yeah, in the life size is about 12 feet. You can even click the mouse here and then drag down. You can see this is the width is about 186 centimeters, right? So this is your top view, guys. And if you want to view from the other side, you can change this to bottom view. We have left view, we have the right view, and we have the front and back view. Okay, all of them have a keyboard shortcut, right? But I don't use this keyboard shortcut. I'll show you a better way of doing things. I always find a much faster way. So I'm going to go back to my perspective view. So if you want to go to the top view, you hold on the control key and you use your middle mouse and push it up. Top view. Okay, I'm holding, push it up. If I push it down, control, click middle mouse button down. That's bottom view. Click mouse button left, it goes to the side view. Click mouse, control right mouse button, it goes to the other view, the left view, I think. And then if you want to go back to perspective view, hold down and come from the top to the bottom, diagonal, yeah? Click and drag. There you go. Much faster way. Instead of you remembering these keyboard shortcuts, Alt K, Alt Shift K, yeah, you get used to it after a while. But there's too many keyboard shortcuts here. So I will just click and drag up. Click left, click down, and click diagonal, and go back to perspective view. How cool is that? I can also have this view, this kind of view if you want to. Can anybody tell me why in perspective view, we can see all the 3D, beautiful 3D stuff, but in the other views, we are all in wireframe. Can anybody make any sense out of it? When I was first learning, it didn't make sense to me, but later when the trainer explained to me, okay, oh, that makes sense. Anyone want to try? There's no right or wrong answer. Actually, there is. There's a wrong and right answer. Let me have a sip of my coffee here. My wife made me, so I have to drink. Ah, nice coffee. Okay, how did I get my 4 views? It's up here, guys. If I click on this little, hang on, let me zoom in. Sometimes things can become too small. Plus, sorry. Can you see this little square thingy, like a screen here? Click on it, it goes back to normal view. Up here on the top right corner, you can see this little quad kind of a screen view kind of thing. Click on it. It goes into this view. Okay. You want to go back, you just click on that little window up there. But can anybody tell me why all these are in wireframe, but this is in the actual 3D view? Why? And actually, the answers make sense, you know. We need to check if the actors are in the right place. Yes. Eugene, if I were physically class with you, I'll probably shake your hand already. Sebab means the reason why. The reason why is, guys, because when you are in these other views, you basically want to look at placement. Okay, so the better way of looking at placement is using wireframes. Am I right? Okay, so let's say you want to move this, like maybe, okay, I want it to align with that line there. Maybe I want it to be like that, and I want it to be like that. So it's basically using wireframe, which is much easier to apprehend compared to looking like this, right? So that's the reason why. Thank you. That's very, very, very smart of you, right? So you can view that way. If you don't want it, go back to here lah. Click. Yeah. Okay, so we have done views. We have brought in an FBX file. Don't worry about the materials. We're going to play around with them. But I want to show you something. Whenever I brought something in, like an FBX file or whatever you bring into Unreal Engine, you see this little asterisk, or the star lah. Yeah, asterisk. This asterisk here mean that you have not saved your project. So this is what I'm trying to say. Remember, just on Monday, I was telling you guys, if you go to File and click on Save Current Level or Save As, it will not save your projects or objects in the content browser. Remember, I mentioned just now, when you bring anything into Unreal Engine, it converts to its own file system, all right? It has not done yet, all right? This has not been done yet. You see that? Okay, it has not converted until you click on Save All. So the better keyboard shortcut to remember when you want to save your project is go to File and then click on Save All. Remember, Control-Shift-S? This is a better one to remember because you know you're going to save the level and also save the objects that you brought in into Unreal Engine at the same time. Okay. So there's a button here say Save All, or I can just remember Control-Shift-S. Control-Shift-S, Save All. Remember that, yeah? It's very important because it's going to crash. Okay, though touch wood, it will not crash today, but eventually it will. But hopefully my system, so far my new system hasn't really given me any issues lah. But you never know. So now if you look at it, I press Control-Shift-S, all these asterisks will go away. Control-Shift-S is saving now, converting, blah, blah, blah. See now, okay, blah, blah, blah is happening. All done, right? Now I can sleep soundly because I don't have any worry about this thing goes missing and all that kind of stuff. Right? So if I click on it, you can see now I can see a lot of stuff. Yeah, I can see that this Zodiac has size of 715 megabyte, has 5 materials. It has how many triangles? 22,000 triangles. It doesn't have a nanite yet. It does not talk about nanite at the moment. It has lot of 0. Do you guys know what lot means? LOD. I know some people don't say LOD. Some people don't say lot. Some people say LOD. You know, level of details. Are you familiar with that? If you're not, let me know. Yeah, if not, I would assume that you know because I know you guys come from gaming company. You probably know all this stuff even at school, right? So for people who do not know anything about Unreal Engine, know about 3D, then they will like, what is LOD? What is UV channels, right? It has 2 UV channels. It has default collision of block all. Okay, that's the next topic we're going to talk about. We're talking about collision. Okay, if I were to just play this scene now, I want to run around. I got my lady here, and I want to run. And oh yeah, it has collision, right? This one has collision, but it doesn't move. No matter how I push it, they will not move. But this guy here, it has collision and also it moves. Yeah, it moves, which is awesome. This guy will not move. It will not move. There must be a reason. So I want this boat to move. When I go into and kick the boat, I want the boat to move. Something is not right. Okay. So let's talk about collision. What is collision and how we are going to rectify collision stuff. And you all know why we need collision, right? In our system, in our game, because we don't want the characters to run through walls and whatnot, right? So when they jump, they actually jump in an actual object instead of just a pixel and then they just fall through kind of thing. So this one already has a collision on it. It's because, remember when I was importing it, it says, do you want to create the collision? Yeah, I say yes. So Unreal Engine automatically create collision for me, which is kind of cool, right? You don't have to worry about creating collisions unless you're worried about running on games on mobile. Then you have to worry about how intricate or how complicated your collisions are. Let's find out, okay? The fastest way for you to go and inspect or open up the static mesh editor, okay, because a lot of ways to do stuff in Unreal Engine. I'm showing you the fastest way, right? Is to select the object in the content browser. You can do a right click. You can say, I don't usually go this way, but it is here. Overall remove under open external editor. Hang on. I can double click on it. It opens up. Yeah. Or I can just Control E to open up the same editor. This is called the static mesh editor, by the way. I want to learn right click. It opens up. If I go to open in Excel editor. Oh no, it opens up. Huh? Is that another version of what is going on? Oh, no. No, it did not. It did not happen, sorry. There is a keyboard shortcut, Control E, but I'm trying to find, because I'm trying to make sure that Medat knows how to go to the menu. Okay, go to actor, edit. There you go, right? Actor, edit. So if you look at the word E here, it's considered like a keyboard shortcut, right? So I like to go Control E, open up the editor. So you can see this floating kind of window that opens up. By the way, in Unreal Engine, there are many editors. Yeah, you will come through all that stuff. We got static mesh editor, we got the material editor, we got the material instance editor, we got a skeletal mesh editor, we got animation editor, we got blueprint editor, a lot of editors. Okay, don't worry about it. We're going to go through that one by one. So I've got this floating window, which I don't like sometimes to open up like that. What I like to do is I can select it by its tab here. This is a tab, this one here, the Zodiac name with my name on top. And I just click and drag it to the top here. So it's like sticks to the top here. Okay, so now I got my viewport, my main window for my Unreal Engine. I've got my next step is actually the static mesh editor. Okay, so this is static mesh editor. There are a lot of things we can do in static mesh editor. Number one is we can actually inspect collisions, number one. Number two, we can create LODs. Number three, we can also look at its light map UV channels. Okay, we'll talk about light map UV channels a little later, but for today, let's talk about collision and LODs. Are we okay for time? You guys need a short break or whatever? Are you guys okay? I need to ask. So far, no questions. Nobody's raising any hands. I've got thumbs up. All good. Okay, level of details. Okay, cool. Some of you are responding. Right. There is actually a documentation about this, yeah? Let me just share with you first before I forget. Collisions, airport import options. I'm going to share this little documentation with you so you can actually look at it when you're in your free time. This talks about the import option that we went through earlier. Okay, these are the import options. Exactly what I mentioned, but mine was a bit condensed. You can go and look at it in a more detailed kind of way. Yeah, like what is auto-generate collision, blah, blah, blah. Everything is here. Very detailed. If you're bringing skeletal mesh, which is your characters or whatnot, which has the bones, rigs, you have to look at these options. Yeah, this one is very detailed. So please have a look at it when you get a chance. So we are in the material, the skeletal mesh editor. Not skeletal mesh, static mesh editor, right? And we want to talk about collision. So we know that this object has static mesh. If I do a right click on it, hover on it, you can see it actually has a collision here. It has two UV channels. We find out another why. We got collision complexity set to CTF uses simple complex. And where was the net collision? They're down here, collision one. There's one collision available. But before I go further, guys, do you know what collisions are and what we use them for? I'm not sure whether I explained it properly. Are you guys okay with collisions and you know why we should have collisions? Guys, gals? If you know, I can explain a bit further or I can give you a documentation on it, which I just did. For physics. Yes, betul. Ming Hao Lo. For physics, which is exactly what I'm going to do after this. Okay. The reason why this boat is not moving when I kick it is because there's no physics in it. Okay. It's not moving because there's no physics. So this is exactly what I do. I want to make sure that it has collision, number one. Number two, we enable the physics. Then the boat will be, I can kick it and goes away. That's exactly what I do. Thank you. Okay, let's inspect. How do we view the collision, right? So up here we have the show drop down thingy, right? Up here, this thingy here. Why are you opening up? Oops, I'm clicking the wrong keyboard shortcuts. See the word show here? Okay, if you click on it, and you can see that we have something called show the simple collision. Yeah, if you enable that, you can see that's actually a bounding box around the zodiac. You see that? If you don't see this, if it's not clear, what I can do is I can actually, at the back there, you can see actually the headquarters of Epic. Yeah, their headquarters. It's basically HDRI. Okay, I want to see it clearly. Let me I can even click on it. Now you can see the green box around it, right? So what collisions are is basically basically a very simple polygon around the object. So we can tell Unreal Engine if the person bumps into this zodiac, it will not be able to go through. Okay, but in this case, yeah, you think that person will be able to sit in the zodiac? Will she or he will be able to sit in the zodiac? If I look from the side, I don't think so. It'll just be floating on top, because the collision is not allowing us to go into the boat. It's just like a plank on top. Let me make this one even easier to see. Environment, I'm going to switch off. I'm going to make it black. Switch off the floor as well. There you go, right? You can see that's actually this little green polygon sitting, but it's actually sitting on top. So I won't be able to go into the boat. Okay. It probably works for people if you're putting this as set dressing, you want people to realize. But if you want to put a character that goes into the boat and paddles away, they will not be able to sit inside, because that's actually a polygon sitting on top. It's just restricting for people to go in. It makes sense? Does it make sense to you guys? Like a plastic wrap, you're right. Like they're putting a plastic wrap on it, and nobody can sit inside there, right? You have to remove the plastic wrap, then only can sit inside. Which means we have to do something to this boat to change the collision to make it usable. Yeah, to make it usable. All right, so that's the simplified version. If I were to go show and I do switch that off and I go to show and I say, show me a complex collision. This one makes more sense, but it's a different color. This one, different color, means this is not applied, but it is telling us this is how a complex collision should look like if you want to put a character inside. But remember, it is a game engine. Big game engine means the more polygons you put on anything, the slower it gets. The more issues you have with draw calls. Yeah, draw call means CPU sending message to GPU, and GPU is trying to display. So the more numbers, the higher the number, the slower it gets. So in this case, it says here, triangles. We got 22,000 triangles on this little zodiac. We got 13,000 vertices. It has 2 UV channels. I'll talk about that in a second. It has about collision is only 1. Okay, but we have not created the collision yet. So far, we only have. I know it's a simple collision. It has a simple collision, but I want to make it more complicated. So I can my character can jump inside. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm gonna leave it on. There are a couple of ways of doing things. Number one is up here under the collision, right? You got a lot of choices. Okay, the first 3 up here, let me just zoom in here, is just by creating a simplified collision. It can create a sphere, a capsule, and a boat. And a box. Okay, let me show it to you. Let's delete this collision. I'm gonna select that, highlight it, and delete on my keyboard. Collision is gone. So if I save this now, and I go back to my mat and I play this, my character will be running through it. There you go, no more collision. She's actually stepping into the boat. Oh no, she's not. She's stepping? Oh yeah, she's stepping. Oh, she's going inside. Oh, that means there's another collision. Oh. But you can see that she's actually penetrating to the pontoon, right? Which is not correct. I think there's another static mesh there. Let me see if I move this away. And Alt P is just to play the scene, yeah? Alt P. Oh, hit the wrong button. Alt P. And if I were to, oh yeah, there is another collision there. You can see that her legs is one up and one down, yeah? Yeah, there is. Okay, let's go back. Remember, Control E, object selected, right? Okay, let's create maybe a simple sphere collision. Does it make sense for it to have a sphere collision? Doesn't make sense, right? Because it's covering up the whole zodiac. It's not correct. So let's delete that. Let's delete. Let's try capsule collision. Makes more sense, but if you're gonna having it just like a background thing and people don't bump into it, it's fine. But for our case, it's not used. Delete, collision, box. Not bad. Okay, but it's very simplified, right? Box. And we have, if I delete that off, for our case, it will not be useful. collision, we have this DOP stuff. Can you see this thing called the DOP? 10 DOP, X, Y, Z, and then I got 18 DOPs, 26 DOPs. Anybody know what DOP means? Anybody want to try what DOP means? I don't know what DOP is, so I did a bit of Google. It's actually a very technical word. DOP. Just put that K, DOP. K stands for the numbers in front. It's actually the name is that's a technical name. I can't remember the technical name. Anybody knows the name? Actually, I have a documentation about it here. All this here, they mean it's got discrete oriented polytype. That's what it means. Discrete oriented polytype. Okay, very technical. That's what DOP means. So if you look at this image here, if I have 18 DOPs, it's going to create some sort of a polygon around the object, and the polygon will have bevels. Okay, this is 6 DOP, this is 26 DOP. So that's what DOP does. It's trying to fit the object as best as possible by creating extra bevels and whatnot. Okay, so that's what DOP means. So if you jump back here, let's try. If I were to select the object and maybe make, we got X, Y, Z, let's try Z. Not bad, right? It has some extra bevels around it. See this part here, the bevel. Okay, I'm going to delete that off. Let's try 26. Even better, right? That's more polygons, but it's really we can't still get into the boat because there's another polygon on top. So sometimes, guys, you have no choice but to create your own. Okay, it's a bit more involved, but you got no choice. But in this case, I can even I can tell Unreal to make a one complicated version for me. I can do that, yeah? If I go to collision and I say, actually there's one here, auto convex collision, and this window will open up on the bottom right. Here you can adjust how many hull count you want, how many max verts, hull precisions and whatnot, right? If I make this one to, let's say 32, I'm just trying this experiment, yeah, we don't know. Actually apply. And now we have a very complex version of that. So the higher the number, the more complex it gets. But still, I cannot see that this time, there's another one. Okay, they've created a few. So now we got a couple of extra polygons that it's created for us. Okay. So you can also, let me just undo this, Control Z here. Sometimes you got no choice but to go in and create your own, right? Which means you have to create something like this. Start with a simplified box, okay? And then you can start adjusting it like that. Yes, I know it's cumbersome, but to serve your purpose, you will have to, I will have to do something like that. This is for the pontoon. I'm not going to do this because I've got not enough time. I have the whole day class with you, but you know what I mean, right? You got to duplicate that, scale, rotate, blah, blah, blah. Then pick one for the bottom and then you save it. Okay. Bit more complex with affected anything like software run. Yes. The more complex your collisions are, the slower the level is going to run, especially when you have thousands of this in your scene. I'm not talking about one. I'm talking about, let's say you have a very complex collision and then you have 1,001 of this, it's gonna slow down. So as a developer, as a gamer, you must think about all this stuff. This is very important because you want to have a mobile version of this game and it doesn't run well on your machine or on certain devices, right? So it all depends on what this game is going to, where this game is going to go to. Is it mobile? Is it a high-end machine? High-end machine, you don't have to worry so much, yeah? I have a question about complex collision. What is it for? Well, complex collision is going to mold the collision around your object, okay, to make it very complex. Or you mean here? Is it the one here? It shows you that if I create a complex collision, you need to do this. It's like a guide. It's more like a guide of showing you if you create a complex collision, it's going to be something like that. But I wouldn't recommend you to do this because I think if you ask any gamers or any developers or modelers, they will not do this unless this is a hero object, which means it occupies maybe 60 to 80% of the scene of the screen. then you need to do this. But sometimes you don't need, because you just need to put a character sitting on the seat and that's it, right? You don't need anything else. She will not be going through here or whatever, unless, it all depends on your game. So you need to ask whoever that's creating the gameplay of how will this model be used? How complex do I need to make the collision? Okay, you can do this in your in your DCC as well. You can do it in Maya, you can do it in Blender, but I normally leave it to Unreal Engine to create it for me automatically. Make sense? Ming Hao? This is just a view. This is just only to view only, the complex collision, right? But you have to create it yourself. Yeah, I don't have much time. I need to jump to something else. So let's say I've done mine. Let's stick to, I'm going to delete this too. I'm going to just stick to something simple for now, just the demo, right? Remember physics, we want to do physics. So I'm going to create maybe, let's do 260 DOP lah, for some reason. Let's try, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to save. You must save, yeah, save that. And then we go back here. And now, if I play, she will be able to, she won't be able to go into the boat, but she won't be able to go through the boat. But now I cannot still click. I cannot kick. So to kick the object, you have to turn on physics for the object, right? So turn on physics in the object is very, very easy in Unreal Engine. Select the object. Okay, it's selected in my outliner here. Okay, I'm going to bring up my details panel. Yeah, up here. Scroll down until you see the word physics. By the way, if you find that this thing is like forever scrolling stuff, I've got a trick for you. Remember, like I mentioned just now, I like to collapse everything down. As a trick here to collapse everything down here into like when you play an accordion, right? You just flip everything down. You go to this little settings icon, the gear icon on the right here, gear icon. Click on it and you say collapse all categories. My favorite. And it collapses all the category for you. Now it's easy to find. See, physics is just here. Instead of me scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, right? So physics is just there. And all you have to do is just simulate physics. There you go. Just switch it on. And now if you play, if I were to now bump into this, see, now she can move the whole thing. Okay, the faster I hit it, so we can also put the weight of it, like think this thing maybe is 100 kilograms or 1 ton or whatever. You can actually set that up. But we're going to talk about physics later on when we talk about when we come back for another class. Yeah, today is just talking about collisions. So this is the reason why we have collision, guys. Yeah. If not, you won't be able to. If not, you'll be able to penetrate through the wall. Even the wall has a collision, so I cannot go through. There you go. Right. So that's the reason why. So just imagine you have thousands of these objects in your scene, and everything has a complex collision. You're gonna have a tough time of trying to export this game out. Okay. Hope that makes sense for you guys. Hang on. Let me have a sip of water. Any questions? Anybody? So far?
I just have one question about the collision. If you want to use Unreal for like cinematics and animation, which doesn't require like running any character or anything, do we still need to set up all the collision properly?
Yes, because if you use particles, let's say your scene has particles and you want the particles to bump off or ricochet off the objects, then you have to have collisions for that.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you'll just penetrate through into it. So think about it first, whether the thing is needed. And if you think it's needed, you do it. But on the high-end machines nowadays, you don't have to worry much about collisions. You just have to put in a collision simplified version or whatever. Unless when I was saying that you have to have this, the character going into the boat and sitting on the seat, and you got to figure out whereabouts is she going to sit, whether I make one here and then I make one at the bottom as a din, and another one here. Right? It depends on how they're going to interact with the boat. All right. All right, so that's collision. I've given you a documentation of reading through more details about that. But I'm going to jump into the next topic. I've got 2 more topics to talk about. Actually, another one is LOD, yeah, level of detail. So let's say you have let's try with a different, I want to try with a different content, okay? I'm going to go in FBX, sorry, not FBX Hussein, but this FBX. I'm going to bring another object and I'm going to take this out, delete, yeah. I'm going to bring my forklift. I've got my forklift here somewhere. That was the raft just now when we were playing with it. It's my forklift. Forklift scale, my forklift hierarchy. It's all broken up. LOD, there you go, right? So I've got my forklift, drag and drop. There you go, right? F, right? Got a forklift, but this is kind of complex. If I were to hover on it, it tells me that it has 80,000 vertices. It's not a big deal, 80,000 vertices. A million pixels that I'm going to worry about, but it's just a demo. I just to teach you how to create LODs, yeah? So what happens if you have 1,000 of this in your scene, right? It takes up time, it takes up processing power, am I right? Nice model, by the way. Okay, so what game engine does, or game engines do, is they kind of have this level of detail, which means the further away you go from the object, the lesser the complexity of the polygons, and that can be done automatically by Unreal Engine itself. So whenever you import an object into Unreal Engine, you can set that as an LOD as well, and you can tell it how many LODs you want. Okay, but in this case, if I select that, how many LODs? This has 4 LODs. Okay. Let me do something here. I don't like this wall, so I'm gonna take it up. Just blocking my way. Okay, so if I were to now go and look at the static mesh of this guy, remember again, Control E, or you can double click on it. Okay, I've got my static mesh. Oops. Your screen will be different than mine because I removed the background just now, right? So I think I should bring it back. Let's make it to gray, and let's put that. Show environment, show law. I think I broke it. Why is it not coming? Oh, it's coming up very slowly. That's because of this auto thingy. We'll talk about that later when we do our. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we've got this guy, right? So if you notice up here, if you look at the screen on the top left screen, it says LOD1. LOD1, LOD 0. Instead, LOD 0 means in computers, we start with 0. We don't start with 1 now anyways, yeah? We start with 0. This means that this object is actually polygon to polygon, which means it's perfect. Okay, one polygon is one polygon, right? It's very detailed. If I come close to the object, I say, wow, very detailed. But if I am away from the object, why would I want to have a detail which is very high detail, right? I mean, I don't want it doesn't have to be complex. So the further I scroll out my mouse, you can see up here the numbers will change. If I scroll out, you say down LOD1, which means from 99,000 triangles, it's now gone down to 49,000 triangles. We just lost about 50,000 triangles. And if I scroll further, it becomes LOD2. Now it becomes only 24,000 triangles. But from here, can you see the difference? Maybe I can a bit, because I have a 4K screen I can see. But if it's running in a game, you don't really want to bother about that. If I scroll even further, it becomes LOD3. Now I can see the tires are becoming a bit more less complex. Yeah. Scroll a bit further because this one has 4 LODs. Oh, you're done already. This only have 3, right? I mean, the number 3 is going to consider like we have 4 LODs, right? So come closer, it becomes very sharp. Go away, it becomes less. So this is what LOD is all about, okay? In this case, I think when this forklift was brought into the scene, we enable the automatic LOD and it tells you how many LODs you want. It's up to you. It depends on your game, okay? How far you want from the screen kind of thing and all that, okay? We can delete these LODs and we can make our own. So if I select the object in the details panel, now you can see we have this LOD settings, all right? Remember I used my collapse all thingy? I can collapse all, yeah? LOD settings, now it tells me this is LOD1, right? I can have, if I open up LOD0, LOD0 is going to be like the full-fledged. So if I were to open up under compute LOD distance, I can actually add more LOD if I want to. And you will have to actually kind of tell the software or the engine, what is this object about, right? In this case, this could be one of these stuff here. It could be a small prop. It could be a large prop. It could be a architecture. And with this settings, Unreal Engine will actually make the LOD for you, right? With these settings. At the moment, it's none. So if I say it's a large prop, it's asking you, be careful. I will delete your current LODs and make another LOD for you. Okay, if you say okay, press yes. And it's doing that. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. So it's calculating the LODs, and it's trying to remove meshes for you for the amount of LODs that you want. Now I've got 3, 4, still got 3. Right? I can increase that if I want to. See, on the right-hand side here, I can see number of LODs is 4. I can make it to 6 or whatever I want. Every time I can actually increase the number of LODs. Let's say I want to bring down to only 3 LODs. Yeah, I click on Apply Changes. Okay. Auto computes LOD distances. I can click on Apply Changes. Now we should only have 3 LODs because we don't require the 4th. It's too far away, and then we couldn't be bothered about that. Let's applying the changes, and now we only have 3 LODs. 1, 2, and that's it. 0. This is 0. This is 1. This is 2. So another way of looking at this, the way it changes its complexity is actually looking it in a color version. So if I go to show up here, and not show, lit, and then go to level of detail, mesh LOD coloration. Okay, lit, level of detail coloration, mesh LED coloration. If you look at that, and now as you can see, closer to us is going to be this grayish color. If I put one step out, this LED 1 becomes red, and now it becomes green because it's LED 2. Right? We only have that option. So this, you can see that actually the LED is working. Okay. Again, if you're importing object, let Unreal Engine do the LODs for you, unless you have a very specific reason why not to. Okay. So let LOD do for you. Let LOD do the collision for you. Let Unreal do the collision for you. Let Unreal do the LOD for you. It's free of charge. They're not charging you anything. Just do it, and then you can come and check, inspect in the static mesh editor of how it has done it and whether it suits your needs or not. Yeah, you can even increase here if you want to. Right, it's a simple way of doing things. Okay, questions? I got one last topic to do, and we are done for the day. Any questions, anybody? Hope this makes sense to you. I know it's not Unreal, you want to see some beautiful stuff in Unreal, but gaming side, you will have to really consider this, especially when you are trying to make a game which runs fast. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to talk about pivot points. Yeah, we have not spoken about pivot points yet. So let me just take this thing out. If you go back to your content view under FBX, I should have one pivot point folder. Okay. So I've got this pivot point that was created. Let's say somebody created this object for you, maybe a third-party person, and he or she did not put the pivot point correctly for you. So if I would take this pivot bed static mesh and drag it into the scene, you can see my hand is on the left-hand side, but my forklift is on the right, on the other side. And it's actually into the ground, right? It's like embedded to the ground, which just doesn't make sense. Simply because when they created this forklift, they didn't put the pivot point correctly. It's not done correctly. So if I do a rotation, it actually rotates like that. Doesn't make sense. So in Unreal Engine, pivot points are very, very important because we always want to make them at the point of origin, 0, 0, 0, right? If I were to zero-rise this thing now, if I select that forklift in my outliner, and if I go up to the transform and I zero-rise by clicking this little reversed arrow, it's going to take me to 0, 0, 0. It's there, but it's actually a wrong position. The pivot point is here. The forklift is there. It's not correct. Okay. Leave this guy here. I'm going to show you how you can remedy that in Unreal Engine, but this is a good pivot point. See that? This one is done perfectly. It's actually sitting right in the center of the forklift. So if I rotate that, yeah, accordingly. And if I were to zero-rise the location, it's actually sitting right at the pivot point, which is here. This one is pivot point is here, right? And if you want to move things, if you want to move together with the camera, guys, I know I showed you how to move this thing by it's using is a control left, control right, and all that kind of thing, right? But if you want to move together with the camera, you hold on the shift key. And now if I move together with the camera. See how cool is that? Right? The camera is moving together. So the shift key allows you to move with the camera. So if I hold on that green arrow, I hold on the shift, actually moving together with the camera. Okay, so that's pivot point issues that we have. So pivot points are important in the sense that when you place stuff, you want them to be placed correctly where you want them to be for rotation purposes. If you run in Blueprint, if you want to run some kind of what was the word for it? Some kind of logics, yeah, like game logics, then you will have to have pivot point in the center. Otherwise, you will not get what you want. So this guy over here, we have issue with, right? See what the problem is with this guy. The problem with the guy, because the pivot point was not done correctly for him. You can go to the back there. I want to focus on this guy. Okay, I can reset its rotation and location first. And let's say we bring him back. So now how do we remedy this inside of Unreal Engine? Okay, previously you can't do that. In version 4.27, you can't do that. But now they have a modeling tool in Unreal Engine that you can actually quickly reset the pivot point. So this is how you do it, yeah? On the top left corner, you got this selection mode. We're actually in a selection mode at the moment, right? Selection mode. There are a couple of modes in Unreal Engine. We have the selection mode. We have landscape mode, which you're going to talk about soon. Foliage, mesh paint, modeling, fracture, brush, animation. There's some here missing because plugins are not on, but we want to go into modeling mode. So click on modeling mode. Okay, and then you will come across this little window that opens up on the side. Some of you might not have the window, like two windows side by side. Do you have that? Try that. Some of you might not have. So what you need to do is just go back to your selection mode and open up again modeling mode. You should have two windows, two panels, I mean, left and right. Okay, this is what I'm saying, guys. In Unreal Engine, they have not improved the modeling system yet. You see the icons I have, these very abbreviated names like polyad. What is polyad? What is tricell? What is triad? You got to figure it out, you know. So, but in UEFN, they have changed that. So let me see if I have time to run UEFN quickly. Never mind, we'll do that another day. So how do I remedy that? Select the object. Okay, select the object. And if you scroll down and you see under there's something called pivot. Pivot. So you got to go to according to the category. Yeah? The category we should look is actually transform. There you go. Transform category has a thing called pivot, right? Click on it, and here we have options. At the moment, the pivot is here. You see in the screen here. See the pivot is here, right? We want to bring it to that guy and then put it at the bottom. So let's click on center. Now it's on the center, right? But it's in the center of the console. It doesn't make sense. And click on bottom. Now it's there. How cool is that? Yeah. And you have to click on accept. Click on accept, and we are done. Let's go back to selection mode. And if I were to bring this guy up and press the end key, it pops to the floor. Done. No worries, yeah? Oh, we got friends from Thailand as well. Forgot to say hi to you guys. Hi, friends from Thailand. Okay. Are you guys in Thailand or you are here in Malaysia? There you go. Pivot point done. How do we do that? Very quickly. Go to your modeling mode. Select the object. We go under transform, which is here. Click on pivot, center, bottom. You can change to top left if you want to, front, back, right, world origin, and all that kind of stuff. But in our case, center, bottom works well. You must click on accept. All right, and go back to your selection mode. And we are done. Okay. I'm just waiting for somebody to ask me a question, but hey, how do I move the pivot point? So nobody has asked me before so far. All my students always ask me. The first thing they ask me about pivot point, how do I move the pivot point?
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask.
I read your mind. Hang on, let me have sip a cup of coffee. 1 second, guys. Any other questions so far besides what Medad is asking? How to move a pivot point?
Actually, I noticed that my editor doesn't have the show scene. Can you show us again how you enabled it?
Enable what, sorry?
Show scene menu in the editor. I only had let me double check to make sure. I only have the detail and socket manager.
Oh, you mean when I was in the editor just now?
Yes.
You mean here?
Yes.
Okay. It will not be there. It's actually closed like that. Actually, you go to window and select the preview settings, scene settings. Here you go. Then it will pop up here.
Yeah.
And then you can come and play around with it. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's hidden. It's not on automatically. It's just I just brought it up like that. Okay, moving pivot points, guys. So if I have this truck, let's do something simple. Let's bring this guy here. Let's do some simple objects first. Let's bring this guy closer to us. And then bring it closer to us, yeah? Focus on him. The pivot point is right in the middle of it, right? See, the middle of the point. So it's very hard for us to then move and collide with another object kind of thing. So if I want to make a duplicate of this by using Alt key and drag, okay, Alt key drag to do duplication, right? Alt and drag. All right, but I want to snap this all together, right? At the moment, the rotation is not done properly. I just click on the banded arrow here. Then the rotate thing will be done. So what is the best way to connect these two together? Where should be the pivot point should be? Bottom left corner here, right? So I can actually attach, right? But how do I move it there? Right? Of course, you can go into the modeling mode and do that, like what I just now showed you, which you can do quickly. If I select this object and go to modeling mode, this is faster way actually. The other way will be a bit cumbersome. Pivot and then bottom, and let's say do right, left, front, back, center, right, left, cannot. All right, I mean in left can, you have to, oh, it does not. Okay, bottom, and then left, bottom. No, doesn't work. Okay, never mind. Scrap the idea. You can actually move it, right? So if I were to, basically using your middle mouse, if I click my middle mouse at the corner here, the pivot point should jump, or control middle point, sorry. Or is it alt middle point? Sometimes I tend to alt middle point, yeah? I can move the middle, can you see that? Now the pivot point is there. But as soon as you deselect the object, it's gonna go back to the middle part of it. That's the only thing, yeah? Alt, click here. It becomes, for a while, you can just rotate. But if you click away, it goes back to the middle, right? We don't want that. So what we can do, we need to make it permanent, right? So if I do middle alt here, middle click, and I right click on it now, let me just make it sure it's that. Right click on it now, go to pivot, and you say set pivot offset here. Okay, set pivot offset here. Or you can say set as pivot offset. Now if I click away, it's going to be there forever. See that? All right, so right click, pivot, set as pivot offset. It's going to be there forever. Now I can just snap these things together. So if I just bring this close, and if I have that grid on, basically, if I make it down to 10, I can actually snap, pop, one more. There you go, right? It's not perfect, but it's there. So there's also a V key. Anybody here from Unity or not? In Unity, you can hold on the V key, right? And it picks up the vertices that's on the thing. So if I were to, it's harder in Unreal Engine. This is one. It's very hard in Unreal Engine to actually snap things together, unless you're on the snap here, right? Oh, sure. You mean the snap option? You mean the pivot point? Let's try with this one. It takes some practice, guys. Yeah, please practice it. So let me go to wireframe view. Perspective, no, show lit wireframe view. So you can see that in the middle, right? And it's right in the middle of the whole thing. So I want to bring it down here. So I hold on my Alt key and click with the middle mouse button. Maybe it doesn't work in wireframe. It doesn't work in lit. Alt key, middle mouse button. Why it's not working now? You go away. Why with this guy? Alt middle mouse button. Maybe my middle mouse button not properly done.
Maybe it is because of the snap to grab.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Thank you very much. That's the one that snap features was on. There you go, right? So it's there. And then I have to right click. I say pivot point or pivot, set as pivot offset. Okay, now it's going to be there forever. Okay, so now I can snap it here. If I have my grid on now, I can snap it with this guy easily. Okay. So easy to snap. If I duplicate these guys, they all have the same pivot point kind of thing. Rotate and all that other stuff. Yeah. So the key is that's how you do the pivot point. There are other ways. Can't remember any. I think if I do a right click on it, excuse me, it's pivot point. Center on selection, set people offside here. This is another thing that I want to show to you guys, but a little later. That's snapped. But at the moment, use the middle mouse, yeah? I prefer Unity has this V key. If you hold on the V key, you can actually snap things together. There you go. This is what I'm trying to do. If you hold on, I'm holding on the V key and it actually snaps to the edges here, wherever I want to do. I think it's getting better in these versions of Unreal Engine. But it looks at this. If you notice, if you hit on the V key, and if I move that, you can see these vertices that's popping up. You can actually attach to these vertices. The small little dot, not sure whether you guys can see in the screen. There are small little dots there, and it's trying to snap to those dots. Okay, basically the dots are here. When you do a wireframe, you can see these little edges here. They have these little vertices, right? So it's trying to snap to those vertices, these guys here. All right, so if I bring my V key again, and I click, see, you can now clearly see the vertices. Not the segments, but the vertices. There you go. So it's like what happens in Unity as well. Yeah, so you can do that as well. But I prefer to just manually move the pivot point and snap it as I want it. Cool. I think that's it for today, guys. We have done whatever we need to do today about pivot point and whatnot. Let me just go and look at our syllabus again. Importing static meshes, the basics of it, creating collisions, about light map. We have not spoken about light maps, okay? But if I were to go back to this guy, very quick, I'm not going to touch on light maps until we go to lighting. If I press Control E, if you notice that, remember just now when we were looking at the meshes, and if I were to see the thumbnail, it tells me there's actually 3 UV channels for this guy. This guy has 3 UV channels. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys know what UV channels are. UV channels means you have to bring, it's a texture, it's UV channels for texture mapping. Am I right? But there's also another UV channel in Unreal Engine or any other engines for that matter. It's about lighting, about baking lighting. Yeah, we talk about baking lighting in the next round. But it actually is inside it's actually on the static mesh itself. Right, Control E. And to show you where it is, it's actually here. If you go to UV channel 0, that is your UV maps for texture mapping. UV channel 1 is for light mapping, but this one doesn't have any yet. UV channel 2 does, okay, there's none yet, okay? Because when we imported this object, we did not clarify to Unreal Engine, create a light map for me, yeah? If the word light maps confuses you, don't worry. When we do lighting, we're going to talk more about it. But for now, you know where it is. Yeah, this is your UV map for texturing, and they can overlap. They can overlap each other. It's fine. But light maps you can overlap. Yeah, I'll show you another version which has a light map UV. Maybe the Zodiac. Quickly, I know it's already 12 o'clock. Just give me one more second, and I will. Does this have a UV map? It has 2 UV channels. Okay, the Control E. And then look at the UV channel. There you go. This is the light map, right? This is the texture map. This is for the light map. Okay, light map UVs cannot collide. If they collide, you're gonna have problems with lighting later on. UV channels map, they can collide. No issue. I can put one UV map overlapping another UV map. It's not an issue. But light map cannot, right? So light map can be created for you automatically by the import dialog box that we had earlier. All right, guys, that's about it for today. So now you have an idea of how to import meshes, although we did a very simple method, but that's how it works. Yeah, that's how you import stuff into Unreal Engine, the FBX, even from Maya. I want you to practice. Maybe you have a Maya. I've even given you tons of other stuff here, like we have the Gaunt here. The Gaunt is actually the kind of a zombie guy here. You can play around with him. So this is more for skeletal meshes. I've got dumpster, the dumpster here, right? Static mesh. You can play around with. It has all the textures with it. Okay, this is meant for gaming. Play around with this. We have maps already. I think these are levels already created for you to go and play with it. So if you open up a hierarchy for forklift, this one, sometime when you close, it will ask you whether you want to save all this. I've been playing with all this stuff, but I don't want to save it. I said don't save. And then it will open up the other levels for me, right? So this is the forklift with all the materials all done nicely for us. All right. So please do open up the levels and have a look at them and play around with it. Okay. On Monday, when we come back, I'm going to talk about materials. How do we create materials? My advice to you guys, if that's something that you want to really learn in Unreal Engine, learn materials. Okay. Materials are the important stuff in Unreal Engine, right? Because everything you see, how it looks like kind of thing is all done in materials. Okay. All right. Any other questions before we go? It's already over 12 o'clock. So sorry about that. I'm not
Yeah.
wrong. If I'm not wrong, we can use Alt V with middle mouse to move pivot point and to snap to vertex. I have not tried that. I will try that. Thank you very much for that. What was it again? Alt V, right? Alt V. Alt V. Alt will automatically duplicate. So I think maybe not Alt V. Alt middle mouse button. Alt V. No, it does not. Because Alt will automatically duplicate. So it's Alt middle mouse, Alt middle mouse button to move the pivot point. This guy have a pivot point. It has. There you go. You can move the pivot point wherever you want. Yeah, but it's only for temporary unless you right click and say offset here. Okay, that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Sorry, I have one question. Do we have any assignment in this course?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Material. These 2 days, I'm gonna just give you to relax. After material onwards, you will have assignments.
Nice.
And I was wondering, I wanted to ask you guys whether I should set up a Discord channel for all of you, so actually you can show me whatever you are doing. I asked Lynette. Lynette said, I mean, she didn't come back to me, so I do not know. So you believe it okay for you guys if I set up a Discord channel so you can ask questions and you can show me what you're doing, and I can, share files. I can share, what do you call that, links and whatnot. You guys, you wanna do that? Will you have time to go into a Discord channel?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Just want to bring up, right, Hussein, our IT team has a very stern restriction on the Discord usage to the internal teams. But if all the participants are using it from their personal computers, I think that shouldn't be the issues. Okay,
so you guys use your own personal Gmail or email. I will set it up anyway, and I'll give you the link, and then you can use your personal stuff. Don't use your company stuff, because I know game animation companies, game companies, everything is so secret stuff. I understand, yeah, because I was working in one as well, so I understand. So I'll set up a Discord channel and I will share with you guys. I will share with Jinwei in the WhatsApp, and he will pass it on. Is it okay with you, Jinwei, to do that?
Yes, sure.
Okay, I'll set up a channel the next couple of days, and I'll Jinwei will invite you guys.
Right, but the channel will be able to just communicate, right? Not able to deliver the files coming from the workstations, unless it's from their personal PCs. So.
Better use personal PCs. It's just for training purposes, use your personal PCs. I'm sure you guys can figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. You guys have a the rest of the day. I will see you next Monday. And if anything in between happens, I will let Jinwei know, and I'll let Lynette know. All right.
Okay. Thanks, Hussein.
Okay, guys. Recording will be given to Jinwei as normal. All right.
Okay.
Okay, bye, guys. I'll see you next Monday.
Yeah.
Take care.